everybody. Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy. I'm your host, Angela Elaine. Happy New Year. Yes, yes, yes. Happy New Year. I'm so glad to be back and to see each and every one of you to join me on tonight. Listen, do me a favor, like and share this video. Let the people know that we are out here. Leave your comment. Let me know who you are out there watching so I can give you a shout out. I am very glad to be here today. As you can see, I'm at my work desk. I've worked very comfortably here. So I was like, well, I might as well go live from here as well. But please like, share this video. Let everybody know that we are back on live. I had to delay the date a couple of times due to, beginning of the year revivals and consecrations and prayers and things of that sort. And I didn't want to kind of mess that up. But I'm glad that I was able to participate in that. And tonight we're back on, ready to tackle this new year and all of the things that it has is going to provide for us in the future. Listen, before we get started, I know I talked about on my ad, I said that we're going to talk about why 2024, what's next. And at first I was going to go to that statement, but then I thought about it. Before you can actually plan on what's next, you really need to pay attention to what you did the previous year. Most of the times in the companies that I work for, I'm a consultant. And the first thing I want to know is what you did last year. Did you ever review? Did you look at anything? What did you learn? What did you do? What plans do you have for the next year based on what you did? What are your expenses? Are you going to increase them, or are you going to stay flat? Are you going to increase 3%, 5%? What are your goals? Are you going to acquire anybody? What are you doing? And, actually, that's the same thing we need to do with our music departments or anything that we do, even in our personal lives. We need to assess what we did last year before you can find out what's next, right? So the first thing you need to do is take the time to just evaluate your previous year. I know, sometimes we don't do that. We just jump into the mix and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to say. This is, we did this last year and I'm not sure if it worked, but we're going to do this. You can't just jump around if you want a successful music department. Now, if you just want to be willy-nilly and just, we go with the flow and whatever happens, just happens, then don't plan. And, most of the time, what happens with us is not that we plan to fail. We fail to plan. We don't plan. I don't know, for some reason in the church, we just figure the music department, we can just go. We just pick a song, we run, and that's it. But that's not the best way to do things if you want to be successful. If you have a spirit of excellence, that's something that seems to be lacking. Most of the new directors today, they don't really think about having a spirit of excellence, which means every time we stand before the people, we're not just doing this for entertainment, but we're doing this for the glory and the honor of God. We kind of lose focus on that. So when you think about what you're going to do, if you're going to do workshops, if you're going to change the tenor of the songs that you sing, if you're going to have focus on vocalization or whatever you plan to do, take the time, stop before you do that. Take the time to see what you did last year. What did you do that worked well? A lot of times we don't pay attention to that. We always focus on the bad. That's the first thing we jump to. I don't know why we do that, but we just focus on the bad all the time. No, that doesn't necessarily, when I say look at what you did, I'm not saying focus on the bad. First thing I do is look at what I did well, right? Always boost. You need a boost before you get hit with whatever is bad. Hey, Scylla, my sister's out there. I'm precious. That's so precious. Thank you, Scylla. But you have to look at what's good. Look at what you did good. The choir sang good with this type of song, or, we had rehearsals at this time. This seems to work out for everybody, or this uniform seemed to look good on everybody. That's important because all colors don't work for everybody, right? You have to pick and kind of get a color that everybody feels comfortable with. Venture out a little bit, but kind of stay where everybody's comfortable, because when the choir is comfortable, they sing better. But if they're uncomfortable, they're not going to do well because they're not working well with whatever it is. Okay. So look at what you did good. How did the people respond when you sing these type of songs as opposed to this one? right? You want to look at all of those things that you did well and put them on the side list. Say, oh, well, we can continue to do these. And just because you did well doesn't necessarily you need to improve on that. Okay. Take that into consideration. So many different sides to this. Don't just focus on, oh, I did this good. Let's try to do this better. No, if it worked, let's let it roll. Okay. Then the next step is what did not work well. Okay. Not necessarily meaning that it is wrong, but it just may not be the best thing to do at this time. You know what I'm saying? My father, God bless him, he's not on tonight. And that was part of the reason why I was so hard, because my parents were always here. But as most of you know, my sister and I, our parents went home to glory together, and they were always on the show. But my father always told us three things. Is it the Lord's way? Is it the Lord's time? And is it the Lord's plan? Something like that. But anyway, most of the time is the issue with us. We may implement something that's not bad, but it may not be the right time because the choir may not be at the right level to handle what you're trying to do. You're trying to push them to sound like another choir, and their skill sets don't match that, right? And then you wonder why it doesn't come out right. Always assess everything. As a leader, that's your job. If your pastor appoint you to lead the music department, chances are he saw some managerial skills in you. It is a management job. You know, we don't, hey, Zaire, good to see you. We don't look at it that way, but being a choir director really is a manager. To be honest with you, when I go to companies as a consultant and they put me over, they may ask me to manage a department, and they say, well, have you managed anything? What have you managed? Part of my experience in my career, I have managed a department, a multi-million-dollar department, but also the managerial skills that I use with the choir, because they also want to know, what do you do outside of the job? Are you all this? You all work and nothing else? What do you do on the side? And when I tell them that I am the choir director, which, in different reformations, it means different things. But when I tell them that I'm the choir director, then they kind of they take a step back like, whoa, because they know actually managing a choir is harder than managing a department. Let me tell you. Managing the department in the secular world is easier because you got money. People are working for the money. For some reason, when they work with the choir, they don't see it as the church as, well, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But you forget that you're working for the Lord. You're not working for me, right? You're working for the Lord. But being a choir director, in a sense, is a manager, because you got choir members, you got musicians. You're dealing with all different types of personalities and thought processes. Everybody is not at the same spiritual level where they can control their emotions. They may fly off the handle because you told them too many times that they're out of tune and they can't seem to hear it, right? So you got all kinds of things going on, and you don't want to discourage them at the same time. So it's really, hi, Pam. Yes, I am. I'm back. Thank you for your prayers, everybody. So you are a manager. So, and a lot of people forget that side of it. They just look at it as, okay, I pick a song, and we just sing and we just, go on. We pick choir uniforms and we keep going. No, it's a whole nother world or situation going on. It's a whole nother level. And that's why I try to spend my time trying to explain that to each of you. You wonder why choirs like Ricky Dillett's choir, New G, Dexter Walker and Zion Movement, even some local choirs that are not well known. Greater Harvest is well known, but there are other choirs that are very good, and they may not be as well known. Is because of the person who's leading them. You have to develop managerial skills. Sorry, if you want a good music department, in the spirit of excellence, you need to manage them properly, not like a taskmaster. Okay, don't do that. This is not slavery. We don't treat them like that, but you respect them. Hey, Rachel, you respect them, and you also give them opportunities to grow. So you are a manager. So in that case, you do whatever. I was thinking, our current pastor, he made a comment in his teaching on Sundays, past Sunday, and he said, whatever you do in your career can be used in the church. And that's true. The skill set that I use to manage multi-million dollar or multi-billion dollar corporations, I actually use that to manage the assets at my church. So I use also those skills in managing whatever task. Hey, Navinka. Hey, Andrew. Managing the people that I work with in various departments and capacities. So that is a part that you need to focus on as well. As a director, you got to be, I know people probably say, well, I didn't expect it to be all of that. But this is if you want to operate in the spirit of excellence, right? If you just want a mediocre group, then, do what you do. As they say, do what you do, boo, do it. And we'll see how that works out for you. But if you want to champion growth, if you want to champion people growing and becoming a world-class choir, even if you don't win a Grammy, God is not interested in that. All he's interested in is the spirit of excellence. So you find out what worked well and then what didn't work well. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just, like I told you, it may be timing. It could be something that you seen somebody else doing, you thought it would work, and then you find out it doesn't work for this group of people. Because remember, every church has their own personality. We all follow the Spirit of God, right? The Holy Ghost. But each church has its own personality. So what works for somebody else's church may not necessarily work for mine, depending on the personality of that church. It sounds funny, but when I go to different churches, I testify or I say a few words or I'll sing something or direct a choir. I'm telling you, each one has their own personality, and I cannot approach them the way I approach Redeem. Redeem knows me. So if I get up and just give pitches, even to the congregation, I just give pitches, everybody understand, get with it. But to somebody else, another church may not understand. They're like, oh my God, she's a tyrant. No, I'm not. But, so when I go other places, I kind of adapt. I don't change myself, but I kind of adapt. Exactly. Andrew Rose says a great music department and choir just don't happen. No, it does not. It takes work. And I think that's where a lot of people, when you see the choirs that are moving and movers and shakers, as they say, and they are doing great things, it takes work. It takes time. It's more than just rehearsal. There's a bond that needs to develop among the people. They need to recognize that they're family and not in a competitive situation. This directed over that one, and competition. That the Bible tells us they that compare themselves among. I'm paraphrasing, but they that compare themselves among themselves are not wise. That's not a wise thing to do, to compare yourself, because first of all, even with myself, there's exactly the Vika there. Certainly do not. And there, you are correct. It takes a lot of work. All caps. He put especially. Yeah, college choirs is a whole nother thing. Church choirs, college choirs, and show choirs. 3 different things, 3 different entities, 3 different situations that you handle differently. But it is different. Each of them are different, but they all require the same thing. You have to be settled when you are a choir director. You can't be one that fly off the handles. You show all your emotions and you get all hot, and you can't do that, because I hate to say it, but there are some people that'll push your buttons intentionally to see you do all of this stuff. You have to be spiritually mature. You have to grow in the spirit. You have to read. You have to pray. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but you do have to stay in the presence of God. You have to have a relationship, because sometimes you sit there and look and your eyes cross and you stand there going, Lord Jesus, help me. You just standing there. He has to help you. So, it's a lot of work and a lot of things that you have to do. And then you also have to look at, what did you learn? I shared a book. I don't have it sitting in front of me, but it's a book. It's a leadership book, and it's like Leadership 101, Relationship 101, Equipping 101. I can't remember the name of the book. Oh my God. Mentoring 101. And it's another one. It's like 5 or 6 things, but it's super thick. Next week, Navinka, if you have that book nearby, I shared it with you. Type it in the comments so I can share it with everybody. Excellent book if you're leading any team. Okay, any team is an excellent. It's thick, but it encapsulates all 5 of these at the same time. I think it's 5 or 6. I can't remember the name of it, but it's 5 or 6 of them. But if Navika can't put it down, then I will have the book for you next week. And it walks you through mentoring people. It walks you through how to equip the people on your team. Hey, Isaiah, this guy, master's degree in music, phenomenal singer. I love him. I love him. Thank you, Isaiah. Good evening to you too. And it teaches you how to have a relationship with the people that you work with, the choir. You have to learn all these different things. And it teaches you how to just lead a team. Gives you so many examples and so much information on how to lead a team, how far to go. You know, even when you lead in the team, there's a distance you need to maintain, a respectful distance. You know, we have the 3 feet when we're dealing with humans. You have the 3 feet, arm's length. Even when you're leading people, you cannot. I tell you this: you cannot lead and bleed on the same people. You can't lead them. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to follow you if you're leading them and you're telling them how to do, and then the next minute you're crying on them, they got to wipe your face with tissues. They're not going to follow you, and so it walks through all of these different stuff. We have to be in a state of learning all the time. All the time. You gotta learn, you gotta grow, because if you get stagnant, the group is going to be stagnant. They're not going anywhere. Otherwise, you see people sitting there, I hate to see people do that when they sing and their head is leaning to the side, but you will get that. So you have to be, in order for them to learn, you have to steady grow. You have to steady read. I know we don't like to do that, and read, not on the phone, but actually pick up a book and read. Because, I tell people in the church, when I do share the word with them, that get away from reading the Bible on your phone. It's so many distractions. You got Facebook, Instagram, you got everybody pinging you, texting you. Get the paper Bible and get yourself situated away from everybody and read that. And you will get more because you're not distracted. Hey, Pam, happy birthday. Happy New Year to you too. You're distanced from everybody, and you're off by yourself, and you're able to focus. You need to learn things. My father always, and I'm referencing my dad, because he would always tell me, you need to learn something new every day. Make it your business to learn something every day. If it's a new word, if it's a new song, if it's a new scripture, make it your business to learn something every day. It's needed. Yes, it's the book by John Maxwell. I forgot. It's red and black. I can't remember the name of it. I wanted to give that out to everybody. But again, you want to focus on learning, bettering yourself. There's always a better way. Remember Apollos in the Bible, I believe, is over there in it's in the pastoral epistles. What Apollos, he only knew up to the baptism of John, and he preached that with all of his heart. And Aquila and Priscilla heard him. They didn't change his method. They just gave him more information. And once he got the information, he was able to do a better job, right? He just needed more. He just needed to learn more. And so once they took him aside, gave him the information, then he was able to go forth and preach with the same fervence. Same thing with you. Hey, Kashan, little brother. Same thing with you. When you learn, you'll be surprised. And I'm going to end in a few minutes because I'm doing the question of the day. I'm teaching for a while, and then I stop and I do the question of the day. So if you have a question that you want me to go over YouTube and Facebook, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll list them all. And then it'll be one, before the show ends, I'll review that one question of the day. Okay. And that's one of my points about what you can do better. Right? You want to learn. So what they did was they just gave him more information, showed him, okay, what you're doing is good. But if you learn this, and I'm going to show you this, right? A more excellent way. He got the teachings of Jesus, that Jesus actually completed the work already. And then he was able to go out and preach with a fervence. When you're teaching people, I always tell people, even the people that are on my team, when I give them a chance to present whatever it is, and you're kind of teaching people how to do accounting, right? I learn a lot of different things in each field. It doesn't matter what it is, science, math, medicine. I learn a lot from my sister, or I watch documentaries and things like that, right? I'm a nerd, okay? Sorry, I'm a nerd. I happen to be a musician, but I'm a nerd. But when I'm talking to people, and when I'm sharing in my church, when I'm sharing at other churches, when I'm doing things, I'm able to withdraw on other knowledge from other areas to interject into what I'm teaching, right? So if you can go there and you can teach music. You sing this, no, sing that, no. You got to give them I find that when you give them an example and you show them something that they may not know, to kind of bring them in. And they're like, wow, I didn't know that. And you bring it in and kind of make them refocus the mind, right? Because if you keep telling them that note is flat, you're not singing it this way, you're not doing it, you keep telling them the same thing, it's gonna become like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. They're not gonna hear. But if you take an example of something, it doesn't matter what it is, and you tie it in and to take them, bring them back from that zone where they are. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And so what it does is realigns them to what you're trying to teach them. But it also tells them, oh, man, this person knows more than just music, even though they know you know that. But, psychology of the mind is something else. I'm telling you. And I do it in my work career. I do it in the church. I do it wherever I'm teaching a song or whatever. I find that people tend to, when you say something over and over, they tend to drift. Then you need to say something to pull them back. Oh, thank you, Navinka. The book is a complete 101 collection, What Every Leader Needs to Know by John Maxwell. You can go to Amazon and get it. I think it's like $15, anywhere between $10 to $20. Every person that's leading any team, I don't care where you are, okay? If you are senior level, whatever, in your company or whatever you do, I advise anybody, especially anybody that's leading a team, to buy that book. Yes, it's not boring. Honestly, it's not. You can read like a whole, maybe 10 chapters at once, because the person is captivating, and you have to have a spirit of learning. Ask God to give you a spirit of learning, but it gives you great examples. All right. Because you need to know how to manage people. You can't just get up and just say, yeah, do what I say because this is what I said. No, you need to demonstrate it. When you teach in parts, you need to be able to demonstrate it. All right. I always tell directors, you need to know the basic scale. I'm not saying you got to learn how to play, because there are a lot of phenomenal choir directors who don't play an instrument, but they have an understanding of music. They understand the basic scale. They understand what each key is and kind of what it sounds like and what I should be doing, right? So you need to know those things. I would totally invest in that book. Is that you won't be disappointed. All right. So first of all, you need to learn what worked well. Start with the good stuff. Always start with the good. What works well. Then what didn't work so well. All right. And don't beat yourself up about it. As a leader, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad judgment calls. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Even in your life period, it's not the end of the world. Okay. You're not the first. I always tell my sister, you're not the first person and you won't be the last. It's not the end of the world. What you do is you realize what you did, dust yourself off, get up, keep on going. Whatever you need to do, repent, whatever, just keep going. Dust yourself off, keep going. You can't just fall out because you did that, okay? You just get up, see what you did. It didn't work, okay? But then I know which way I can't do it. And then find another way. Pray to the Lord and ask him to give you another way, all right? And then look back and think, what did I learn? Who did I learn it from? If I pray that people start getting these workshops back together, where we can come together and learn. Greater Harvest had a great one on last year, I believe, and they had a lot of good speakers. Very informative. For me, it doesn't matter how well I can direct, how much I know. It doesn't matter. I'm always trying to learn. There's a better way to do it. There's I'm always there are some things that I've forgotten. I mean, I've been a director almost all my life. And there are a lot of things that I've forgotten. So when I go to seminars or I watch a documentary on music, it kind of enlightened me a little bit. And I remember those things. All right. And then lastly, what can be done better? Is always something that we can improve. Doesn't mean that you're bad. Doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It just means You just need to improve. That's all. No, it's not a bad thing. You're just improving on what God has already showed you. And if you take the time and think, he'll illuminate, say, well, take it this way. Instead of talking to them this way, come around this way, and you'll get a better response. It's all, it's more to it than what we give credit for. And my hat's off to every choir director. It's not an easy job. It's not. People think it is. And if it looks easy, it's because it's your gift. Okay. God gave you the gift and the knowledge and the wisdom to do that, right? It's not that you're so grand or wonderful or whatever, but it's a gift from God. And it's what he gave you to do. And that's anybody. Some people are just good at nursing. They're gifted. They're gifted. And they can do nursing well. But if you put me there, I don't care if I did get a degree. I would be stressed because that's not really what God wants me to do. Yes, Andrew, paper Bible saved. Exactly. Thank you, Kashan. He said, I miss you and these teachers. Thank you so much. I missed you too, bro. And that's basically all I have for that now, because my alarm is getting ready to go off because I want to be able to answer this question. One of my mentees asked that I address this. I don't know. He had a hard time understanding it. I told him that it was very simple and easy to do. Exactly, Isaiah. I do too. I want to go to more workshops. They are very, very beneficial to the music department. But my question of the day, a while back, Donald Buster Wood, I call him Buster. We grew up at the same church, so I call him Buster, right? There was a little clip, and I think some of you seen it, where Buster was talking to Pastor DeAndre Patterson, and they were talking about the praise team versus the church choir. And, there's always been a running thing. I personally, they all fall under the music department. They all fall under the choir director. So I don't, to me, I don't understand. And that falls under they that compare themselves among themselves and not wise. The praise team is looked at as an elite group of singers like commandos. And then you have the choir, which is like the basic army. I'm sorry, ROTC kid here. So, that's basically how everybody looks at them. And I think Pastor DeAndre was saying, that, talking about the praise and worship, that they did not replace the choir. And that's true. Honestly, now there are reasons that a lot of people do not have choirs, and I'm not here to badger that, but I wanted to just kind of explain that both departments have a job to do, and their jobs are pretty similar. All right. Most of the time, the praise team is 3 to 5 people, maybe. And most of the time they sing songs. To me, we kind of created the division between the two, in my personal opinion, because both of them are supposed to use their platform to bring glory to God and to edify the saints. That's your basic job. All of this badgering and all of this whatever shouldn't even be. All right. So basically, that's what they're supposed to do. But a lot of times the church may have a praise team of 2, 3 to 5 people because they have low membership, or they may not have enough people to have a choir. Right. Or if they have a choir, they disbanded it because of a lot of different reasons. Could be the talent pool. You may have a choir of 15 people, and maybe 3 to 5 really are the ones that really can sing. I mean, there are a lot of different reasons as to why there is a praise and worship versus the choir. But a lot of times, and I agree with him in that the praise and worship is supposed to usher us into the presence of the Lord. That's the whole part. But, if we go back in the day, we didn't call them praise and worship. We just called them the devotion team, really. And they would get up and they would sing old school songs, songs that everybody pretty much knew to get everybody involved. You know what? One thing about it, let's keep in mind what the church is for. The church is a coming together of believers to worship God in a corporate setting. Basically, that's what we're doing. Just like all of these other groups and fraternities, sororities, all of these different clubs and all, they get together to bond, to share to fellowship, right? And that's what you're doing at your local church. That's what we're all doing. And in our corporate worship, we are to glorify God and edify one another. That's our basic job. All right. And I mean, anybody, now they have kind of created it where it's more of a platform let me put it this way. The purpose of it is not for us to create a celebrityism, right? We're supposed to participate in the worship. From the time you walk into the door to the time you leave, you should be participating in the church services, right? So when they are up there singing, we shouldn't just be sitting back like we're being entertained, like, okay, they're singing for 5 minutes or whatever, and then, moving on. No, we should participate with them just like we participate when we go anywhere else. It's no different. We have allowed the church to become a place of entertainment, and that's what you don't want the choir to be. Oh my God, you don't want your music department to be entertainment where everybody's just sitting there looking and not getting involved. That turns me off when I'm singing and people are just sitting there. I don't have to, because I'm that kind of person. I don't have time to push and pull. No, I'm not doing it. My church will tell you, I'm not doing it. If you don't get up and get with it, then I guess you sitting there, because I'm not coming to get you, because you're here to worship God. You worship God everywhere you go, right? But we're coming together to work together to lift him up, right? So there shouldn't be one does not cancel out the other. Everybody is needed to work together in the music department. One don't cancel out the other, right? And a lot of times we think that the choir is more important than no, they both are important, because you need somebody to get up there and get the service going, which is the hardest thing, by the way. Being on the praise team trying to get the service started is hard. That's the hardest part, to get them lifted. So a lot of times, even I do it sometimes, I'm not really a praise and worshiper in the sense like what everybody sings with all of these different songs, where we standing there, I don't generally do that. I just usually hit with a congregational song and let's move on. Get everybody up, because if I sing something that everybody knows, they're going to get right up and get with it. That's what I want you to do. And before you know it, everybody's gone and they praising God and they singing, and I don't have to do anything, right? The choir, on the other hand, a lot of times people get with the choir more because it's an aggregation of people. And you got people moving from side to side like a wave. It does something to you to see a mass of people move together. You ever seen, if you ever seen a military pass and review, I used to have on my uniform and doing the pass and review. It's a great feeling to be in that, because everybody's dressed like we all moving like left, right, when they say present, and it looks beautiful. When the choir is together, it's engaging. To the person that's sitting in the audience, they see this mass of people singing together, then it makes them want to get up and sing with the group, right? Because generally the choir does not sing anything that hard. Unless you singing Donald Lawrence's Matthew 28 with all of you doing that, then maybe the choir, everybody kind of sit back and look at you. Nobody is joining in. But basically, the songs that we sing, especially when you get to the vamp, everybody can join in and participate, right? So any part of it, in my opinion, any part of it, whether it's praise and worship or whether it's the choir, anybody should be able to join in and participate, providing that you singing songs that everybody knows. Now, if you sing songs that nobody knows, then of course it doesn't matter if you praise team or the choir, they're still not going to get with you. And you want to make sure you sing songs where the Spirit of the Lord can come in and it can be ushered in. I hope that answers his question, because he was just bothering me about it. I don't understand. That's basically what he was trying to say. He's not saying that one is greater than the other. We need to have both sections working together. Corporate fellowship. Exactly, Andrew. Corporate fellowship. There should be no fighting. No, one is not better than the other. Okay. None of that in the house of God. None of that works. What we want to do is make sure they're all working together under one leader. All right. The choir director. Is your job to set the tone of that department. It's your job to select the song, to make, you have the people working with you. You can, however you want to do your department. I'm not saying that, but you set the tone for that department. And if you see some aberrations going on in that choir, then you need to speak up and get rid of it. And let them know, no, we are all one team and we all work together. And that's the way God wants us to do, work together. If you read in the Bible, the singers and all of them, they work together. The musicians, everybody works together. Isaiah said, I just became the praise and worship at my church a year ago. And it's something, Jesus, the struggle here. Yes, it is. People don't know that when you're trying to get people together, especially if they all been to Sunday school, some of them are kind of like sluggish from some Sunday school. And especially if you have one that, where it's mostly talking. I try to keep our Sunday school, when I do reviews and stuff, I try to keep it different. I may have a couple of videos in there. You might as well use the screens, you got them. So I have a couple of videos in there that I may show them, or we may have trivia, or we may, something to kind of keep the people moving. Because I don't like stagnation either. But then when you're trying to, some people don't go to Sunday school. They just roll out the bed, get dressed, and come to church. Well, the praise, the person that's got to pull all of this together, that's hard. And that person needs to be in the face of God before they get there, because it is hard. Trying to get people, they come from the washroom, they done this, they're talking over here, and they're all over the place. And you got to let God use you to pull all that together, so that by the time the prayer started, everybody's mind is together. It's not an easy job, and it is a struggle, but you can do this. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. You can do this. You know what, everybody? That's all I got. I got a whole list of stuff to talk about and keep me busy from now to probably August, okay, of things that God has given me, ideas and things to talk about. But that's what I wanted to bring to you. Before you really get to your next, go back and review, examine what you did last year. Don't just, come up with something all of a sudden. Think about it. You're a manager. A choir director is a manager. Don't let nobody fool you. You a manager. You're not just doing this. That's the easy part. All right. You need to have goals. You need to have a plan. You need to have organizational skills. You need to know how to manage a team and inspire them and move them forward. But I dare say, check that book out, The Complete 101 Collection, What Every Leader Needs to Know by John Maxwell. Listen, all of you, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you, and I hope I said something that helped you and gave you some kind of insight on things that you can do for your department. I enjoyed being with you all tonight. It's been a long time since I actually done this, and you would know that I was extremely nervous talking to you, but because it's been so long. But I'm glad to be back in my element. I'm glad to be on my way back to being back in the choir and growing. And I got invitations to come and do some workshops, and I'm excited about that. I got to travel a little bit. I'm really excited about that because, since mom and dad, my father have always told me, if opportunity comes, go. And so I've been invited in a couple of states to do a workshop, since they found out that I'm back with the Choir Directors Academy, and I'm super excited. So you all pray for me, right? You pray for me. Don't run me too hard, but you all pray for me that God gives me the strength to do this, because I enjoy this. I enjoy this so much. And I'm so thankful that he's opening doors for me to travel to different places to share and to teach. And of course, my sister, she claims to be my adjutant. So she's like, I'm going wherever you're going. So, I got my whole little team with me. And of course, my niece Duchess. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate you being with me. Thank you. Be humble. Thank you so very much. Navinka, thank you for the blessings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I pray on grace for it. But I thank you all for being with me. I love all y'all. You know I do. I have a heart full of love for God's people. I just want to see everybody. I have a spirit of excellence in me that my mother deposited and my father deposited in me, and my sister as well. But in me, before they left, they insisted that I always do everything well. Be the task, great or small, do it well or not at all. You know, my father's like, that's it. Don't do it if it's not done well. And I strive to do everything well, no matter what it is. I strive to give my best and do my best. And I want to encourage each of you to do the same thing. It's very rewarding when you do things the very best that you can do. God gets the glory out of that. That's all he wants is your best. He's not saying you got to be so great and grand. No, that's not what he said. But he wants your best, your heart. Give him your best, and he will shine on you and make everything possible. Be Humble says, I'm so glad God led me to your page. You're so helpful. Listen, Be Humble, love you. Thank you so much. I'm glad to know that I'm helping you out. Listen, I'm at the end now. I love y'all. I didn't want to be too long because I don't want y'all to fly away because I'm too long. Stephanie, hey, Stephanie, that's my other mentee. Yes, thank you so much. Good to see you. Listen, that's all I got. Love y'all. Pray for me. Keep me in your prayers. Love y'all. And peace.